Hello everybody, Demon Red Mist here, and I'm doing something a little different on today's live stream, as the title kind of suggests. What is it I've titled it? An insight into a racer's mind, or at least my mind. For anyone that knows me, watches the videos or anything like that, you'll know that a couple of days ago on Thursday, okay, it's Sunday today, it's more than a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, I was involved in the Dynamic GT League Red Bull Junior Championship Race 2 at Brazil, where I had a fantastic battle with Steve F1. So what I decided to do, because I know a few people have asked for a video about overtaking. Now, I do know there's something in the pipeline from Dynamic GT League, but I do know that I've also been wanting to do some kind of overtaking video, and I'm still interested in doing that, but I'm going to need a victim at some point, so it might take a while for me to do that. But it did get me thinking about the end of the race, the last 6 laps of the race around Brazil. Because I have to say, Steve F1 drove absolutely brilliantly, really brilliantly. And although I don't get past him, spoiler alert, I don't get past him. Although I don't get past him, I don't mind. I thoroughly enjoyed this battle. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give people a bit of an insight into what I was thinking and what I was trying to do in those last 6 laps, and what, from my perspective, it looked like Steve F1 was trying to do. Now, Steve may watch this and can comment if he wants. I thought about asking him to join me on this stream, and then I thought, no, fuck off, he beat me. But no, so I basically want to be able to show the DGT League drivers what I go through here. Because, I mean, I was asked after the race, do I think I could have had him if there was another lap? And to be honest, I actually said I could have dive bombed him a number of occasions, but that's not how I race. It's not a fair way to race. I could have taken a massive risk and it may not have paid off, and even if it had, I wouldn't have liked to have got past on a dive bomb. So I'm more than happy. To be honest, I'm quite proud of Steve. He fended me off beautifully, but we're going to have a look at it now. So just to paint the picture of where we're up to at this moment that I'm going to start from, basically it's a 40-minute race, which works out at a 28 lap race, and I have gone for pitting every 10 minutes, and on the second stint I looked after the tyres, just so I could go 1 lap longer and give myself a slightly shorter last couple of stints. But during that calmer stint is when Steve revealed his tactic, which was to go longer in the first stint and only do a 2-stop race, and whereas I'm on a 3-stop. So once I made my second pit stop, I then realised I had to push hard because I was behind Steve. I still had 2 stops to make, he only had the 1. So I had to push really, really hard. Now, as you can see on the timer on the bottom left corner, we're on 32 minutes at the moment. Steve pitted when that was on about 27, 28 minutes. And I could have followed him into the pits. And, I mean, you could say that I should have done. But the way I saw it was, yes, he'll open up a tiny bit of a gap on me on the undercut, but I'll have 1 lap fresher tyres, and at the end of the race, with him on a longer stint, that could benefit me more. So I decided to go 1 more lap before I pitted, and then I've had to spend a couple of laps just closing the gap in, which, I mean, it's not giving me a time between the two of us at the moment, but it's going to be around about 1.5 to 2 seconds. So we may still have a lap of closing the gap in, and what I'm going to do during this video is I am going to be pausing the video quite often, potentially, to explain a few things. I mean, it's a bit of a shame I can't put some kind of pointer on the screen, but anyway, there we go. So we're going to crack on. So starting lap 23 then, and I am still pushing as hard as I can without trying to kill the tyres too much. Now, one thing that I'm realising is, or I am aware of, should I say, is that once I get about this distance from Steve F1, I'm now going to start getting the benefit of the slipstream. So although I want to push hard, like here there, I've pushed a little too hard, I've actually lost a little bit of ground because I was going too fast into the corner because of the slipstream. So now I'm going to have to start slowing down a little bit sooner while still trying to push. At this distance, Steve F1 is aware that he doesn't need to defend at the moment, and he has got a slightly different line through the previous right-hander to what I would normally use. But as I get closer, you'll see the point in which Steve F1 realises, okay, I'm going to have to start defending. Now, for me at this moment, I could automatically think, right, I'm passing you at turn 1. But that's not what I'm actually thinking. What I'm thinking is, okay, we've got another 7 minutes of this race. I don't need to chuck it past you straight away and then be under pressure myself. What I can do is, if the opportunity arises that I can overtake you into turn 1, I might go for it. But if it doesn't, no problem. I'm then going to take my time and work out what you are going to do. So Steve decides I'm too far away to defend, that's fine. But now I'm this close, this is my opportunity to work out, okay Steve, what are you going to do? Are you going to defend me? And I may even do a little dummy move. Yes, he is going to defend me. Okay, so if I'm this close, he's going to defend, so I can try going around the outside or potentially go for a switchback. In this corner, I overtook him in the previous championship up the inside, but I'm too far away for him to worry about that. But I am thinking, okay, you're going to defend that? Are you going to defend this? Okay, maybe not. I'm not sure about that corner yet. We'll have to check it out on another lap. The next right-hander, the tight one, are you going to cover the inside? He thinks I was too far away, but he thought twice about it. He's going to defend that if I'm this close next time. The final corner. Are you going to defend the final corner? Personally, I'm not going to overtake you here, because where's the point in overtaking you here when I could just overtake you on the straight? Now I'm this close, the opportunity is there to make a move. Problem is, I'm actually a little bit too close, but Steve's going to cover the inside. Makes it early, or should I say, makes me know early he wants that inside line. That's fine, I'll take the racing line. And I'll go for a tighter exit of 1 to open up 2, to be closer to him on the exit of 3, to try and get on the inside of him, but he covers it off. I knew he was going to cover it off, so I then fade to go to the outside. Now he's defending hard, no problem. I'll break on the racing line. Can we go round the outside? No. Okay, what's he going to do on the exit? Okay, he's going to run it all the way to the outside, so I can attempt to switch back. Up into turn 6, is he going to defend it? He got beat here before, he's seen me have a look. Yes, he is going to defend it. He'll definitely defend it next time, and he's going to defend this as well. So instantly, I mean, I'm just going to go back a little bit, actually, because I know I've gone through that a little bit quick. But all of these kind of little moves I'm making at the moment, every move I've made is not actually an overtaking attempt. It's actually me going, okay, Steve, what are you going to do so that I know what you're going to do the next time we're in this corner? Okay, if you look, I'm not attacking the braking zone. I'm not forcing him around the corner. I'm just looking to see where he's going to go. So I'm now, right, okay, I could potentially look for a switchback because there's all that space on the left-hand side. He might not mind running out wide, especially if he wants to defend turn 6. But I don't know if he is going to defend turn 6. So at this point, I need to know, right, is he aware that I might? And if I do think about it, is he going to... So I need to find out if he is going to cover it. Because if he's going to cover it, I need to know exactly what I'm going to be doing. Not just in this right-hander coming up. And not just in the next part of the apex of turn 6 and 7 here. But into the tight right-hand corner. So these 3 corners, for me, are all interconnected. Because depending on where Steve puts his car in this first part... depends on where I am going to try and put my car on the third part. Now, if he takes the inside line here, excuse me, and wants to cover the inside line at the third part, he's going to be slower around the middle part, or the second part of this corner. The reason he'll be slower is because he's going to have to slow it down a little bit more to be able to keep to the right. Okay, so now I can think, well, if he's going to do that, I can dummy the inside, I can move back to the racing line, I can carry a little bit more speed into the corner 1, then because I know he's going to have to slow down a little bit in 2, that's when I can speed up and take the outside line. That puts me on the racing line, and then what I can do is not actually try and overtake him around the third part of this corner, but I can actually look for doing the switchback. Because chances are he may be going a little bit too quick to be able to stay tight to the third part of this corner. So he may end up understeering a little bit and end up further over to the left of the track, and then in turn again going to have to slow down a lot more for the next left-hander. So what I'm actually thinking at this point is not just what's going to happen in the corner ahead of me, but apex 2, then the next corner, the third part of it, and then the fourth part of it. So as I dummy this move here, this is a case of, right, is Steve going to defend this or not? Yes, he is. Okay, if he's going to defend this, let's see where he puts his car so I will know where to put my car. So now he's going to have to go slower. You see how he's further towards the left. Now I'm further towards the right here because I'm not pushing through these corners. I'm only interested in where Steve F1 is going to put his car. And where's he going? He's going over to the inside of the corner to cover it off, right? But you'll see, it's gone back quite a long way, but you'll see as he's doing that, he's obviously concerned of me going up the inside, but you'll see from what I do, that's not anywhere near my intention. My intention is only, okay, Steve, what are you going to do? And then because I move back to the racing line, that's me practicing what I'm going to do next time around. So now he's got to slow down. So there we go. So the switch has been done, right? He's got to cover the inside. I can now see what it's like on the outside. But going for the switch back because he's now going to end up further over to the left. Now bear in mind, I'm still not trying to overtake him. I'm just putting some feelers out. Right, what are you going to do if I do this? Okay, now I know that it's going to be difficult to do this kind of thing if you're in the pack, but I'm trying to show that you don't have to chuck your car into a gap at the first opportunity. It's actually not the better way. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Senna's statement of if you no longer go for a gap, but the problem with that is everybody misrepresents it and misunderstands it. Because to be honest, there's some gaps that you really shouldn't go for. And if you don't know what I'm on about, Google blue waffle. Actually, no, don't, please don't. It'll put you off sex for life. So yeah, so as I said, like 4 corners ago, we are in pretty much exactly the situation that I said we would be in. Obviously, I did know, but this is where I'm still putting the feelers out. And because he's now tight onto what is the inside line for the next corner, he's now going to have to slow down a little bit more, or going to have to let the car run over to the right hand side of the track on the exit of the corner, because he's potentially going to want to cover the inside of not this corner and not the next kink, but this tight right hander. So now I'm thinking 2 corners ahead, and Steve will be thinking 2 corners ahead. He knows at this point he's going to have to slow it down. He's going to have to park it on the apex here, because if he doesn't, I could undercut him. So there he is, parks it on the apex and lets it cover the inside for the next corner. Now we're in this position again. I'm not actually going to attempt to overtake him. Now there's a few reasons for that. Number one is I'm only working out what's going to happen here in case I need to make the move on the last lap of the race, right? Because other than the last lap of the race, there is absolutely 0 point in overtaking Steve F1 from this point of the track to the finish line. There's no point in overtaking him. And the reason for that is, if I overtake him in this corner, he's only going to come straight back past me down the start finish straight. So there's no point me attempting the overtake here when I can just wait 3 more corners and overtake him down the start finish straight. So that's part of the mentality of what I'm thinking. Now, the reason that I would still make Steve position his car over there, now you may think, well, he's chosen to. Well, yes, he has, but I've made him choose to put his car there, because if he doesn't put his car there and I'm this close, chances are I might sneak up the inside, still not necessarily to actually make the overtake, but for this one sole purpose. And it's the same if we're in this position now. There's only one reason to be in this position, and that is to make Steve be slow around this corner and then potentially slow around the next corner and out of position. And then again out of position into the final corner, i.e. defending the overtake into the final corner, so that I can take the race in line and get a faster run out of that corner, overtake him down into turn 1. Or do what I've just said, but don't overtake into turn 1, because if you do make the move, you're both offline, you're both a little slow, and there's an opportunity that if you overtake into turn 1, you might get repassed into turn 4. So if the opportunity is there to make the move and stick on the racing line into turn 1, 2 and 3, go for it. But if it's not, get the other guy out of position to slow them down, and then make sure that I get the faster run, not through turn 1, but through turn 2, turn 3, then overtake on the way down to turn 4. The problem for me is that Steve F1 is aware of all of this, as this will show. So he covers the inside. Little dab of brakes to make sure he doesn't run wide. Now I'm getting close, so now I'm trying to put him out of position. I want him to cover the inside line. That's why I dummy, but he doesn't fall for it. He focuses on getting the best run he can through the final corner, and to be honest, that's effectively what wins him this race, as well as his phenomenal defending. So now I've had a little bit of a feeler lap of what are you going to do. So let's see what happens on this occasion. I'm gaining, try and see if he'll defend. He covers it a little bit, but realises I'm too far away. We both get through turn 2 and 3 at regular speed, but I'm still trying to make him think about either covering the inside, but I would guess that Steve thinks I'm too far behind to attack. And he's right. There is no way in a million years a driver in this position should be looking to throw it up the inside. And the reason for that is, in about, 10 metres, Steve F1 is going to be at the braking point. If you're not right on their rear bumper by the braking point, you're not really in a position to attack. And one of the reasons I say that is, what you have to remember is, I race in car view, so I have the mirrors, right? So I can, if I was in Steve F1's position, I would be able to just look in my mirrors and go, right, is he close enough? No, he's not. Right, stick to the racing line. But if you're not in a camera angle that gives you the mirrors, you then have to press a button to be able to look behind, which means you have to do that at the last possible point before the braking point. So if you're a following driver, you may think it's brilliant to effectively wait until they've done that to then go for the move, which, yeah, that's fine if you're right on the rear bumper. But if you're this far away, you're too far away. This is dive bomb region. Now, Steve F1 has realised, he knows that I'm not going to dive bomb him, right? He knows that. And there is a big difference, by the way, between dive bombs and a late braking move. Or a late move and a brilliant late braking move. They are 3 very different things. So on this occasion, Steve F1 has realised I'm not close enough. He doesn't need to defend the corner, and he doesn't. If he defends the corner, he's just going to lose time. So he can just stick to the racing line, as can I. But he has run a little bit wide. So now I've got half an opportunity to chuck it up the inside if I want to into turn 6. But this is where Steve F1 learnt his lesson from the previous championship. He knows straight away he's had a little bit of a wobble, now I'm close. So let's watch what he does. At this point, he has already decided. Now, admittedly, slightly further back, I've already decided, right, I want to be up your inside. But if you cover the inside, I know that I'm going to be going for the outside. So I've got plan A and plan B ready to be put into action. Not, okay, where am I going to go? Oh, I don't know. Oh, shit, I've crashed. It's right, I'm going to do this, but if you do this, I'm then going to do that. Okay, so I'm thinking 2-3 steps ahead. So straight away, Steve covers what'll be the inside. He wants me nowhere near the inside of that corner because I did overtake him there. And he knows it's not easy to overtake around the outside of this corner. But as I said on the previous lap, with him being on this line, he's going to have to slow down at part 2 to keep the inside of part 3. So let's see how this plays out. So pretty much exactly the same as what I did on the previous lap. Now, I am just going to go back a little bit because what I want to mention about what I do here as well. So Steve has actually covered this off quite beautifully, really, because if I tried to really push it around the outside, it's going to be very difficult. Although I've got a radar on, I can't see him. Also, I don't want to go too far wide. It's dirty out there. If I get slightly too far wide, I could easily run off the track. But at this point, I know that Steve F1's car is going to want to move away from the right-hand side of the track, right? So what I'm going to do is use that little bit of movement of his car to try and put a little bit of fear in him and effectively make him slow down and get a little bit unbalanced so that he can cover the inside of the corner. So I'm basically going to fake going for the inside of the corner, but my full intention is to actually be on the left-hand side of the track and on the racing line. So this is all pre-planned, what you're about to see as to what I do. So here's the dummy on the apex, but now I'm already moving over to the left. And he's covered the inside. Right, so my pre-planned direction allows me to be that little bit closer to him, and if I had pushed a little bit harder, I could effectively have been side by side with him. But again, we've still got 3 minutes left. I don't have to rush, okay? And with him being out of position here, that knock-on effect is going to happen again through the next 3 corners. Looking for a potential switchback. Steve's carried a very decent amount of speed. He's had to take a tighter line through there. Dummy the inside. And he didn't defend it. And to be fair, he put me off on that one. That is a moment where I should have gone for the move. But I was not expecting him to not defend this bit, because I was dummying this move, and I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna move over and defend it, and I'm waiting to make that movement to the left, and he never did. So he kind of caught me out on that one. Fair play to you, you bastard. Now, as I've said, there's no point me attempting to overtake down here unless it is on the last lap. All I want to do is get him out of position, but he's not falling for it. I know I was sitting on the racing line there, but he's no intention of covering the inside line into the final corner. And to be fair, it's the right thing for him to do. Because if I chuck it up the inside, he can just wait, let me go flying past. He can then cut up the inside of the corner and have a much better run out to the final corner than I would have. That's how it would work. And it's brilliant from Steve to realise that that's the way to do that particular corner. Either that or he just fucked up and didn't even think about it. But I'm going with that he knew what he was doing. Right? I've got to give him some shit. He did beat me. Okay, so now we're getting down to the last sort of 2 minutes of the race. So there's maybe... At this point I'm thinking there may be 1 lap, there may be 2. There is going to be 2. So Steve once again defends. Am I going to actually attempt the overtake here? No. I'm going for the switch back on the tighter line, to make this corner more open for me so I can go faster. Problem is, I had a little bit of a twitch, but I'm still close enough to Steve to make him think about defending. Okay, now, if I remember rightly, this is the point where I think we have a little coming together. Now, I know that Steve F1 initially was concerned that he had fucked up and basically stopped me from winning the race. But to be fair, the way I saw what you're about to see is that, yes, he did make a mistake. But the contact that happened between us was my fault. And the reason for that is that when making the move up the inside like I'm about to do, I need to make sure I don't hit him. The problem is I understeer a little bit and I hit him. And that then puts him more into me. So, Steve covers making a little bit late. So at this point, I'll let it play through. So it's only a tiny bit of contact, and there's a bit of additional contact, but it's all come from the same one bit of contact. So not a lot in it, but there are a few fine margins as to what actually caused Steve to make his little braking error, or understeer error, and me to make mine. Now, Steve's come from braking fractionally too late on very worn tyres. So let's see when he brakes. 55, 60 metres. So it is fractionally later than normal. That's why Steve's run a little bit deeper. The reason I've hit him is look at where my car is positioned. I'm not actually on the racing line. My right tyres might be, but my left tyres are nowhere near. I should be further over to the right hand side of the track. So I'm on part dirty part of the track. At this point, I know, and Steve knows, he's fucked up. As his car had that little wiggle, that's when he would have realised, shit, I'm not making this. And I don't know if he was trying to leave space on the outside or not, but in all fairness, his car was not in a bad position. As you can see from my steering wheel, as soon as he had that wiggle, I've already made that decision. I'm going up the inside of you here, mate. The problem is, and you hear it, is I get a little bit of understeer because I've come into the corner at too tight an angle. If I'd have been further over to the right, I would have made this move no problem. So now the understeer's coming, I'll move further away from the left-hand side of the track, the white line. Give him a little nudge, that sends him into a wobble, and that's what results in the secondary and third contact. So that, as far as I'm concerned, yes, Steve made an error, but I made an error. There's no way I would have asked Steve F1 to give up that position because I should have... No. We stay in the position we were. We both made a mistake, no problem. I mean, his mistake only affected him, mine affected the both of us. So, anyway, someone take points off him, please. So, obviously, we need to resettle ourselves. Now we know there's only going to be one more lap left. I don't mind that Steve has now got this gap between us. That's just racing. I know that I've now got one lap, one opportunity. And to be honest, the opportunity is coming in not this corner. So I'm not really interested in overtaking anywhere other than this corner. This is my main focus on what will be the last lap to attempt the overtake. Because I can make the overtake there, make this corner difficult for Steve and run to the line. That's the aim. If I can get through in turn one, then so be it. I'll probably take that opportunity. But I don't think I'm close enough. So I'm going to try and use turn 1, 2 and 3 to get close. Turn 4 to get him thinking. Turn 5, see if he covers the inside for what will be turn 6. He knows I'm too far away here, that's fine, but I can push my tyres a little bit. They are one lap fresher. Am I going to go for the overtake? No. Because he won't let me. Am I going to squeeze up the inside? No. This time I'm going to get properly on the racing line. But Steve covers the inside line much better. He doesn't mess it up. Then he covers the outside just enough to force me to what will be the outside of turn 6. Let's see if we do the same as what we've done on the previous laps. Steve goes in a little faster, or I go in a little slower, but I want the racing line here. Now I'm getting him out of position just there to set him up to be slow here, so that I can now be quicker heading up to this corner. Make him defend here, which he does. I want the racing line. Go for a switchback. No, I can't. I'm too close. I'll go around the outside, run too wide, and that, I just want to point out that this is such a technical, tricky set of corners here that ideally, let me just stop it. Okay, here, ideally, as I'm turning in here, I would want to be able to just tuck right behind him and then power through the corner. But I'm too close to him. If I turn in now, I'm going to hit the back of his car. So I've made a slight error of judgment here, right? As we play this on, I know I can still make this work. Because at this point and this point, this gap right in front of me is plan B. So plan A is to undercut him and power around the outside of him, round this corner, and make Steve have the inside line for the final corner, right? Would be side by side. He's going to have the inside line, and that's where he's going to be in trouble. Plan B is this, but not with me off the track a little bit. Me on the inside line, but I would make it difficult as fuck for him in that final corner. I'd go Rosberg on his ass, right? Yeah, I'll brake, but I'm not turning yet. Or I would park it on the... I would do whatever I could without being a dirty driver to make it difficult for him to overtake. But a little bit too much on the AstroTurf. And there is the gap that I would have wanted to be in. But at this point now, Steve knows probably that he's got a damn good chance. All he needs is a good exit out of this final corner, and I ain't going to pass him. Now, at this point, I could have dive bombed him, but that's not the right way. This is not a corner really for dive bombing, and really you don't want the inside line into this corner unless you have no choice, unless you are side by side, and I'm nowhere near. I don't think I'm close enough to go late on the brakes here, especially when the fastest way around this corner is with dropping to the highest minimum speed. So the fact that Steve doesn't defend this corner at all means he did exactly the right thing here, because if I had chucked it up the inside, he could have just taken his time, as I mentioned, done a switch back on me and beat me on pace up the hill. He stays on the racing line. It's all about the run out of the final corner. Steve has a very good run out of the final corner, and I just haven't quite got the distance to be able to close the gap enough to pass him by the line. So what, I think it was a tenth between us or something like that. I mean, I know this is a slightly different video than what I've done previously, but I just hope that what I've shown here perhaps gives a few people an insight into a different way of thinking when it comes to attacking, right? Okay, I didn't get past him, but I don't mind that, because me racing the way that I did and Steve racing the way that he did resulted in us having an absolutely fantastic battle. And that's a really a really pleasant part of racing sometimes. There's no pleasure in getting dive bombed. There might be a bit of pleasure in doing the dive bombing, but the thing with dive bombing is, more often than not, you're going to piss people off and you're going to fuck up people's races and you're going to ruin your own tyres. Sometimes you're much better off taking a step back and going, right, okay, what are you going to do if I do this? Okay, now I know you're going to do that. What am I going to do when I make you do that? So for me, it's all about, not necessarily mind games. It's all about, what are you going to do with your car? And when I know it, I know what I'm going to do. And I'm going to work out where is going to be the best opportunity for me to attack you. And one of the things that Steve F1 has really done in the time that I have been racing with him is he remembers. He remembers about some places where overtakes may have been done on him when it thought it might not be possible, so he knows to cover them off. And that's a brilliant part of the racing level he's at the moment. And some of the drivers in the league still need to calm down a little bit. Others need to perhaps be a little bit more patient. Others need to be perhaps a little bit more, not aggressive, but a little more forceful maybe. But hopefully this has given you a little bit of an insight into my mindset. It'll be interesting to see what Steve F1 says about this. I know both of us were bricking it a little bit, and for me, I did absolutely love this battle, and I am proud of Steve, the fact that he fended me off. I mean, a few of the drivers know that I help people out at times, so I mean, I'm more than happy to give them setups and tips and stuff like that to any of them, and I don't mind if that person then beats me. It makes me proud, because if they've taken on board the things that I've said and then gone and beaten me with them, then I couldn't be happier. In public, in private, I fucking hate you. But no. Anyway, I'm going to end this live stream there. I don't think I'm going to be doing the a Le Mans guide today. I'm not sure. I've not done a lot of practice around there. I've only done a handful of laps. So I'm nowhere near set with be set up or what kind of lap times I'm doing. I mean, for anyone that wants to get some tips about that particular track before I've done a guide video, then what I would say is take a look at any previous videos I've done for that track, even if it's that track with the chicanes on the long straight, because the only difference there is you don't have to slow down for the chicanes, you can just keep going flat out. And a couple of the braking points do change slightly. I mean, this car is brilliant around that track. But a lot of what I actually say, or may have said with previous cars, would be very similar with this car. It's just some of the higher speed braking points will have changed. But hopefully I'll try and get it done. Actually, I won't be able to get it done tomorrow. Maybe I will get it done today, because I think I'm going to be very limited on time Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. So, okay, I will try and get it done at some point this afternoon. Okay, have a good one, folks, and I will see you all again soon.